I'm not positive that this will be the last video, but I will try to keep it as trim as possible. We are moving into video number 3 for this tutorial, and we are now going to be starting to look at what is happening from the user. So let's jump right into it. The next piece we need to do is once the game has been set up and we have everybody positioned the way we want them, a variable for the egg position is being chosen. I should set that back to 3 so it works properly. Once we have that variable being set and positioning these guys accordingly, we then are, as you can see here, waiting for input from the user. How does the user interact? Well, they hit a key on a keyboard. So we're going to go over here and we're going to look for an event, and we're going to say when a key is pressed. Okay, we're going to say when the number 1 key, where it is pressed, we're going to do something. Well, we're going to again use a variable. So let's go down to our variables and we're going to create a new variable. And this is going to be called key press. And when, write that out. And when the number 1 is pressed, we're going to set key press. Up here for now. We'll set key press to the number 1. And we're gonna do the same thing for 2 and 3, but we're gonna go through this entire piece of code and then duplicate it a couple times to save ourselves some work. So let's think this through. If the position is 1, so let's make that 1, and I hit this. Okay, egg position is 1. When I press 1, what am I doing? The key I pressed is 1, and I'm checking if once that's pressed, we set the variable to 1, and we go, is the variable key press equal to the variable egg position? Is 1 equal to 1? And if yes, great, then we're going to move on with that. So we're checking if egg position, which is our variable over here, is equal to key press. So let's go over to our controls, and we're going to say if, and this is going to be an else if again, because we have more than one outcome. We're going to say if operator then equal, get rid of that, if egg position is equal to key press, then do something. Well, what's the thing we're going to do? If yes, broadcast found. Okay, head back over here, go to our broadcasts, and we're going to say events, sorry, and we're going to say broadcast, a new message, and the message is going to be found. Okay, great. Take that, stick it in here. And if it's not equal to, so let's say egg position is 1 and I press 2, then what's it going to duplicate? Sorry, what's it going to broadcast? It's going to broadcast a new message, which was, if you remember, miss. Okay, and I'm getting that from here. Okay, so is key press equal to, key press variable equal to egg position? Yes, found, no, miss. And there we have that. Now this only happens on our first key press, so we need to do something else. We need to duplicate this and do the same thing when the number 2 key is pressed. Okay, set key press to 2, and then check if egg position is equal to key position, say found, and miss, and I'm going to duplicate that one more time, and I'm going to make this, oops, make that 3, and make that 3. And so now we have these 3 reacting. Now, this is a little repetitive. We will learn in a subsequent lesson how to make that even simpler, but we're getting through it, right? We're getting there. So that is now saying, are all of these things correct? Are you correct or are you incorrect? And resulting saying, do this. What's the next step? We need to broadcast found, and someone needs to react to that, broadcast found or missed. Well, who is it? Well, here, say you found me, and that, who's saying that? Well, that's the chick, right? And we say try again, that's coming from the hen. So the hen says, try again, you missed, you didn't find the chick. And if you did find the chick, okay, if it's found, then the chick pops up and says, hey, you found me. Okay, so let's jump over here. This is going to happen where? Well, it's going to happen on, for the one that says we didn't receive it, we need to do that on the hen. Okay, and so the hen is going to say, let's go to when I receive. Okay, we're going to be creating some when I receives to react, and we'll actually need 2 of these, but do one down here. Okay, and when I receive found, and when I receive miss. Okay, well, what happens when I receive found? We'll get to that because we haven't done that. Let's start with miss. Okay, so if you've got the wrong key press and it's not the selection, we're just gonna have a say. Okay, and we can do say or we can do think, and so we're gonna say for maybe 2 seconds. We're gonna think, which is, let's look at the difference between that's a think and that's a say. Okay, they're just a different graphic. Okay, just so you know, and doesn't really matter which one you use, but we're going to say, or we're going to think, try again for 2 seconds. Okay, and then we're actually going to copy this one. And right after it says that for 2 seconds, it's then going to say, here's your instructions again. Okay, press 1, 2, or 3. Okay, so if you miss, it'll say, try again. Press 1, 2, or 3, and there's your instructions again. Okay, so what else has to happen? Well, if the hen says that you missed, then this happens. What happens if it's found? Well, let's think that through. If you find the check, you find it in the right position, 2 things can happen. We can, I think here in the code, it says you found me. Okay, so let's add that in, and that's going to happen on the check. So sorry, yes, it's going to happen on the check. So we're going to go down to the check there, and we're going to say when I receive, I'm going to go find our when I receive. All right, so when I receive, and let's put that here. Okay, and when I receive that, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to do a say, okay, and the say is going to say over here, and we're going to say you found me. You found me, and we'll put in a little exclamation mark there, and we'll say that for, I don't know, let's say 3 seconds, and then there's a second piece that's going to happen is we're going to reveal the chick. Now, at this point, we've already revealed the chick. We can see it, but if you remember from our costumes, right, we're going to be in this position to start and while the game is playing, and then we're going to switch over to this position. So at this point, now that we sort of understand, hopefully we understand how this is moving around based on the variables, I'm actually going to set this back to closed so that we can start seeing how the reaction works as we kind of interact. So when you receive, oops, that should be when I receive found, right? Sorry, that's a mistake there. When I receive found, I'm going to say you found me for 3 seconds. And I'm also going to have this costume change. So let's go to our costumes, which are here. Switch costumes. I'm going to say switch to chick reveal. And that's going to happen right before we say. And then I'm going to get another one, which is going to, after 3 seconds, switch back to egg closed. Okay. So what should happen when I receive found, it should say open, you found me, 3 seconds, close. Okay. Open, you found me, close, and then that code stops right there. Okay, so that's working. Now what do we have to do? Well, we basically have completed up to this point. We've got a you found me, and we've got to try again. So let's take a look at our game. Okay, we start the game here. It's gonna run through everything at once. Okay, so it's hard to tell that it's happening in the background. I'm gonna change that back to 3 here. Okay, but what's happening is it's choosing our variable, it's switching our eggs around, okay, into the right position. And if the reason we did it previously like this was so we could see it, which maybe at this point we'll just take a look at how it's happening. Okay, it's moving my chick according to the variable. Okay, and then when I click on this, it's going to say, that's a miss. I click on this, that's a miss. But if I click on this guy, if I click on, I should be hitting my keyboard, sorry. I press 1, it doesn't do anything. Try again, 2, doesn't do anything because it's wrong. And 3, it says, hey, you found me. Okay, so that part is working. We just have a couple other things to add to this to sort of wrap this up. Okay, so, well, what are those things? What do we have to do next? Let's have a look at our plan, because that's really the key, is going back and forth to the plan and understanding what's supposed to be happening. Okay, so everything is good. We're down to here. And then the next piece is going to be a reset. And actually, as I'm looking at this, I'm realizing we should also have a quick change, because at this point, our hen is still saying, giving instructions. And at the point that you find the check, so let's say I click on the 3, this should actually change, and let's have it sort of say hooray or something like that. Okay, so that we can react to having 1. So I'm going to put in on the hen over here, when I receive found, meaning the chick has been found, we're going to say array, exclamation mark. We'll do that for 2 seconds, and we'll wait a second and then bring back our instructions. So let's go to wait, which is here. Okay, we'll wait half a second, 1 second. Let's try half and we'll see if that's long enough. Wait, oh yeah, okay, so it's 2 seconds plus a half. I think that'll be sufficient. Otherwise it'll be a bit long. And then we're going to duplicate this guy and chuck him on the bottom here. All right, so I know that my egg position is 3, so I click 3. It says, hooray, you found me. Wait a second, and then goes back to our instructions. All right, the next little piece of this is we need to reset this, right? If I just continue playing, well, it's 3 still, and it says, hey, you found me, but it's still 3. So I need to now do the thing that started this whole game up. Let's go back over to the chick. This is what started it. We click on this flag here, and it runs all of this stuff, right, to set my random and reposition everybody. So I'm going to actually, I could write this here, but what's actually easier is I'm just going to go duplicate and take from where I duplicated. So notice if I delete that, if I click here and say duplicate, it gives me everything, including that top green flag, which I don't want. If I click here and say duplicate, it duplicates from the point I clicked on. This is what I want. I want it to, after going, well, I've switched over my costume and said you found me. I want to then reset, and that's coming from down here. Okay, that's our reset. Okay, so we've done everything to this point. All right, so we're getting there. The other piece that I want to add to this is going to be a piece that tells everything else to reset while we're playing the game. So there's some things that has to happen. If the egg has been opened, if the chick has been moved around, etc., we're just going to reset just a couple of items. In the instance that, say, I'm halfway through the game and I want to restart, or I hit the flag, I want that to do a reset as well. Okay, so I'm going to put a little code, and it's pretty straightforward. It's a simple little piece of code that we're just going to reset some positions. Okay, and that looks like this. I'm going to go down to broadcast. So I'm going to say this is going to go on, I think, on the hen, and we're going to do a little piece of code that's pretty straightforward. On the hen, I'm going to go broadcast. I'm going to create a new message. It's going to be called reset. Okay, and I'm going to put that here. I'm going to duplicate it. I'm also going to put it on the bottom of this guy here. And I'm going to have the reaction happen on the chick, which is going to say when I receive reset. I'm just going to set my costume back to chick or egg closed, just to make sure that's in the right position. And then I'm actually just going to drag this from here onto egg, empty egg 1 and empty egg 2. Okay, those are now here. Put that in a neater place over there. Same thing with this guy. And all that does is it just sets it so that if I'm playing through the game and this 1, 2, 3, I want to reset that position. Okay, I click this, it resets the eggs to closed. Okay, the last little piece I need to do is we need to have, so let's take a look at how this works. I run the game. Like everything is right here. I press 1 and it says try again. I press 3, it says try again, and finally I press 2, it says correct. I want to add in just a little reveal to have a bit more of a reaction for the eggs. So if I go reset that, I press 1, something should happen here. Okay, and if we look at empty egg 1, you'll see we left the costume here. There was this reveal. So what we're going to do is when we receive that there's been a miss, this egg and this egg are going to open up accordingly. Okay, so let's go back over here. When I send that code, or I send this here, okay, we've got, where is it? Here's our broadcast, okay, broadcast found, broadcast miss, okay. These eggs are going to be listening for that code so that they can react. Okay, so that's just going to be a simple when I receive. When I receive, and that's going to be miss. Okay, I'm going to go over to my costumes. I'm going to go to empty reveal. I'm going to wait a second. Okay, 1 second should be long enough. And then I'm going to switch back to egg closed. Okay, and so that means it does this. It opens up and closes, opens up and closes. And now that's happening on miss. So I'm going to duplicate that, do the same thing for empty egg 2. Okay, so now that'll have also my miss. And so now when I play the game and the egg position is 1, I'm going to press 2 and it says, hey, that's a mistake. Okay, and then 3, that's also a mistake. Oh, something's wrong here. I made a mistake. Oh, I know what. Because these are getting the same code. So what we have to do there is on the second egg over here, we're going to switch. Okay, so this goes empty reveal. Okay, and this goes back to egg closed. And this one is going to say, that's right, empty reveal. Okay, and the last piece of this is here. Oops. Actually, this should be working. I've got a mistake somewhere, because as I look at this, what's happening when I hit my 3, it's triggering 2. So this is getting the right message, right? So if I hit 3, this is running. But I go over here and something's wrong because it's not triggering. This is triggering this egg, not doing this. And I think I know what the problem is. The problem is this is going empty reveal and empty dash reveal and egg dash closed. And on this egg, empty 1, I named this egg closed and empty reveal with dashes in between. But if I go here, I made this mistake. I forgot to put this dash in here. And so that's an important piece of this. It's looking for this code here and it wasn't there. Okay, let's go back over and let's just check that this is going to empty reveal and this is going to egg closed and this is going to just go back to the right costume and this is going to empty reveal and empty or egg close. I think that should work now. So egg position is 1, I press 2, right, now it's working. I just had an error in my naming. Okay, so as you saw previously, this is actually not a great solution. It's just a simpler solution. So let's run the game. I'm going to go full screen here. And if I press 1, it's wrong. If I press 3, it's wrong. And I press 2, it's correct. And it runs through, resets my egg position to a new random number. And then I've got to play the game again. 2, 1, 3. Hooray. Okay, so that's working. Ideally, we would find a better way for this to, work for the user. But for now, just because this is a lot to understand. There's a lot happening. So do make sure that you understand and you go back through the code and understand from the video what I'm talking about for each of these steps. Okay, understand the difference between an if and an else, and then why we have this second if here inside this else, because there are 3 possible outcomes. Okay, and what that means. So go through, work on this. Be sure to add comments. Okay, right click and say add comment and explain what each of these blocks is doing. So for something like these 3, you can do 1, right? You can say here add comment and you can say these 3 blocks or these 3 identical blocks are whatever they're doing. Okay, but do make sure that when you hand your work into me, I can follow the thread. Okay, and that's it. I know it's long. Good luck with it. Spend some time going back and forth between each of these pieces and understanding them. Okay, good luck. We'll see you on the next one, which is going to be this plus a little more.